we're talking about your new upgraded thing. I say we met over one of those R5Cs.
Okay.
And now look, there's two of them.
Yeah.
That R5C's had a baby. There's another, there's
C70 in the corner.
Jesus Christ.
It's all going, mate. I've got first employee.
All right.
Ben is.
I told you, I just employed someone yesterday. This is the second assistant because the other one, she moved to America.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I'm just, because I just keep on dropping the ball with getting back to people. I've just got too many things going. I'm just like, do you know what? I need to delegate and just try and let go and don't look.
Delegate, that's the key, isn't it?
And it is what it is, and so that you can actually do creative stuff. Yeah. Right?
Which is your, what do they call it in the business world? Your North Star time spent.
You see?
Is
there we go. Otherwise you're doing these other stuff.
Yeah.
And that's suffering.
Yeah.
So you need to do that and put stuff around you so that you can do that.
Yeah. Because that helps everyone at the end of the day.
That's the reason why people people like you or whatever it is, that's the reason.
And that feeds.
You start doing this so perfectly well, but that's not that. And people want that. So we know.
Yeah. But it can be so difficult to let go.
Very difficult.
Because it's a control thing, right? Yeah. I really struggle with that. And we've sort of talked about this before.
Yeah. Because, you know, it's being creative. Being creative is it's a blessing, not a curse is the wrong word, but you know what I mean? It's a blessing and a curse because you want to be creative, but creative means trying to finish something to whatever standard you want to finish it. But then you end up trying to apply that to all areas of your life. And it's like, no, some things are perfectly imperfect, you know? So just focus on the one thing that you need to make right and get that right. And trust that someone else has some gift to do the other bit that you can also do, but they need to do it so that you can do that. I'm even struggling with the thing now while I'm saying it.
No, but it's right, and it's so difficult. Like, as you know, we're both creatives, and that is absolutely, because you want it to all be right, you know, and be presented in the right way. And you have a vision in your mind
that needs to be that vision, and you need to let go and trust that someone else understands that it can be that. You know, I mean, you've done well. You're sitting here. You haven't tinkered with anything. Oh, hold on, but I've only just come here, so maybe you're doing a bunch of tinkering.
We did 3 others today, so it has been set up all day.
All right.
But
that reminds me. Me and Justine are starting a podcast which we'll be doing in December. Maybe when she's over, I don't know when she's over though. But when she's over, maybe she can come and do yours.
Sweet. Oh. Nice. Amazing.
Mine is just going.
Always looking for people. Looking for people to go through it. That's it. And podcast is kind of...
I'm going to put my legs down because I don't know if my kneecaps are huge. Because I've got these protected for the motorbike.
Well, now we know. You came on a motorbike, so you've got knee pads on, which is very sensible. You're a father. That's a sensible thing to do.
I blame you.
You blame me.
I blame you because you have a motorbike and the dogs were running around and there's a motorbike in the distance and it's your fault. I'm sticking with that.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Cool.
Yeah. Mine's currently off the road, actually. Haven't had a chance.
Is it round? Still out there? On that side?
It's right outside.
Oh, is it the one? Is it the one down? I thought that looks like yours, but I was like, okay, there's yours. All right, cool. Although, you know, does it need to be on the road? I mean, a place as big as this, I'm sure you can ride around for as much as you want, and it's blah, you know.
If I had a motocross bike, then that would apply. But it's a road bike, so...
There's enough tar. In this land, there's a lot of tar. You can ride, indicate, you can go roundabouts, you can do a whole bunch on the tar parts, and then get your motocross for the grassy parts. Yeah, you don't need road tax.
How's the creativity been since I last saw you?
The creativity has been great, but because, you know, I always mix the creativity with a bit of business as well, which isn't the North Star. It can, you know, it's interfering. So my focus at the moment is to try and maximize the artist part, which is what I'm blessed with, that bit, work on that and make sure it's maintained well. Nice.
So sounds like some just sort of sorting out the back end, if you like.
Exactly that. I think I've had my, it's good to have fingers in pies, but my fingers have been in a lot of pies. Excuse them.
No.
Excuse the pie. Fingers have been in a lot of pies, and it's all good, but now I need to what is it, to assemble the army to enable me, you know, execute the overall battle plan. You know, but for that I need to be at the on the line, on the front line, you know. So I'm trying to stay on the front line and stop looking back and let the amazing people that I will slowly collate around me to do their bits.
Building a team.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Much like what you've done here.
Yeah, well, exciting. Yeah. Very exciting. Yeah. Terrifying and exciting all at the same time. Tell me about Sister Act. Tell me about
Sister Act. Yeah. So part of my MO post COVID was get out of your own way. That's the biggest thing. Sometimes I've forgotten who it was I was talking to. My mate Terry Brown. He's been with me for many years. He used to manage me back in the day. But I remember we were having a conversation in the car on the way to a gig one day, and he said to me, "Do you know what? You know, as an artist, as a creative, sometimes you can try so hard to be cool in what's in your mind is cool. But there are a lot of cool people who don't get to where they're meant to be because they're too concerned with being cool, you know? So what you should be doing is just ticking off the boxes for whatever is in your heart that you want to achieve. Cool, not so cool, bit nerdy. I'm a bit nerdy, I'm a bit geeky, you know? Yes, I like music, but I also, as you know, I like cameras, and I also like fiddling with stuff, and I also like computers, and I like coding and all this other stuff. Some people might think aren't so cool, and some people might think are cool, and I don't fit into the typical box, you know? So stop trying to fit into the box and just tick what you like, you know, tick off the things that you like doing, and the people who are also into those things, whether it be separately or as an amalgamation, will slowly graft towards you, you know? So
who or what put you into that box?
I think society just puts you into a box, right? Once you do, you're okay. When you're drawing a picture at home, it's lovely. You're just drawing a picture. You have no bearing on what's great, what's good, what's average, what's nice, what's, you know, you're just drawing a picture. As a kid, drawing picture. The problem starts the second someone says, "Oh my God, that's an amazing picture. We like you for that." Suddenly, every other picture you draw has a bar now that you either have to reach or match or do the same as. Not you want to do different, but people expect to see that, you know? And then, you know, the second that becomes your not way of life, but, you know, your bread, your purpose, then that's the reason people come to you. And then suddenly you're concerned with doing that. So society just naturally puts a label on it. If Coca-Cola changes their color from red to purple today, they're going to be like, what? I'm pretty sure their sales will go down because people want to see a red can of Coke. Yes, they can do cherry cola and these other ones. I want Coke from Coke. That's what when I open the can, that's what I expect to taste, right? So unfortunately, once the business of art starts, that's just what comes with it, you know?
So obviously, so your history, which I don't know much about other than obviously Fame Academy, which we don't need to go into, but you've obviously had a lot of experience with being the artist, but then the business was handled elsewhere. So when you started taking on the business yourself, and you're now at this point where you're trying to sort of relinquish it again by the sounds of things. Yeah. So just tell me about that journey of like how you've gone from wanting the business and now...
So a lot of people know me predominantly from Fame Academy, which was the thing that brought me to
being judged.
The population.
Well,
yeah, exactly. That were being judged, right? And brought me to the masses of the UK. But before that, about 8 years before that, this is 8 years of trying to get into the music industry. And I was with a collective called Best Kept Secret, who was like a production company. And they kind of took me under their wing. They were developing other artists as well. An artist called Kelly LaRock. There was myself. There was Mike GLC. There was Melissa B. There was Mikey Raw. A few, like they had their little team that they were building. And during that time, I spent a lot of the time on the road trying to get a deal. Also in the recording studio, recording music, writing songs, and going up and down the country, performing, trying to get a deal, you know? So I think that period of my journey taught me about the hustle. You know, how no one has ever really handed something on a plate to me. You just need to keep on grafting and luck will happen to you. But you need to be doing something and getting all the no's, and the no's make you stronger, and you learn, and it hurts and it's painful, but you go again and you question yourself, and that whole usual creative circle that all artists, all people in the creative industries go through. You know, is it me? Was it them? They don't understand. Is it me? Is it them? They don't understand. It just goes round until you get a little bit of something, you know? So I think that part taught me about the hustle, and things were, I won't go through all the 8 years because we need about 4 hours,
highlights.
Yeah, there's highlights. You know, almost got a deal a number of times, and then eventually I thought I'd give up and I'd go back to uni, because when I first started to pursue music, I was going to a Barnet college, and I was studying biology, chemistry, physics, and I wanted to be a doctor, probably mainly for my parents. And then I said, no, I'm going to focus on music for a year. A year turned into 8 years. And my friends who I'd gone to college with had graduated and come back round to the house, and I was getting increasing pressure from my parents to conform and go back to uni. And eventually after 8 years, I thought, do you know what? It's time. I'm going to go back to uni and pack this in. It's a joke. I've tried. I'm not good enough, right? And my last ditch attempt, I remember I was in a bank, NatWest Bank, I was working for at the time, and I just finished doing a tour with Trevor Nelson, and we had a good conversation up in Ireland. And after that, I got the job at NatWest. I stayed at NatWest for a bit, and I was just about to start uni in Cardiff. And on my lunch break, I left my keys in the canteen. And I went back to pick up the keys, and I heard Trevor's voice on the TV, because his voice was the voice that they were using to do the Fame Academy advert. So I turned, that's how I saw the advert. I thought, oh, maybe it's some kind of omen, maybe I'm meant to try and do this. Clearly I was, but maybe I'm meant to try and do this. So I took down the number and called up the show, and you know, and here I am today talking to you.
Rest is history.
The rest is history, exactly. So then after that, there was a few ups and downs, but then I ended up with Sony Music, and I did 5 albums with them. I would say it was still about the hustle, but that was more about the graft at that point, because the workload was immense, and you have a huge team around you. Just whatever is needed, they're trying to do it at the highest level, because everyone wants everything to work, you know? So for me, at that, the good thing about that is you can focus on what you're meant to be focusing on, which is sing as well as you can, write the best songs you can, become a better performer, just do the art. And I think that's the most satisfying thing. You're not worried about getting a deal. You're just not worried about anything. It's not worried about budget, just nothing. Just be the best this thing that you can be, you know? So that's great. What it doesn't teach you is that obviously other people are doing the stuff, which is good. But if I didn't have the period earlier where people weren't doing the stuff, so we all just had to muck in and graft and figure out how do we get clothes. I don't know. Let's go and meet this person, and then they know this other person, and they're part of this company, Pele. They can get us the jackets, you know. And so the collective, Best Kept Secret, used to do that, and I'd see it all firsthand. Whereas in a record company, you don't see that. You're just in the best hotels and the best flights on the best thing, just trying to be the best artist, which is good because you do become the best artist you can be. As long as everything's going well. Every contract has an end at some point. You know, if you're doing amazingly, it's extended and you move on. My one with Sony, I saw out the whole contract, 5 albums, and then it was time to move on. So at that point, the team obviously disappears because the contract's ended. And that's where you need the hustle. I think, you know, I mean, even if you have the hustle, it can be hard. But at that moment, the questioning starts again. You know, have I made the right decisions? Am I good enough?
The voices, imposter syndrome.
There we go, imposter syndrome. Can I do this again? Should I just give up? Should I, you know? But one thing I knew during that period, and because of the period before, is I can write a song. I can hustle. I've got a name now, you know, that some people know. So that's a currency of some sort. So I've got to learn the bits that I didn't learn while I was focusing on being an artist, you know? So I set up a label, I did a few deals, got a good label together. At that point, I was, you know, had made quite a few producer friends, a lot of writers as well that I've always kept in touch with. I think that's another good thing, actually. You know, whenever you're, whatever business you're doing, always try and just be nice to everyone.
Sure.
The person you meet on the way up is the person you meet on the way down. So just be nice. Otherwise, you know, no one stays in the same position for too long. You might, the person you're being a jerk to that might end up being your boss, or might be the person that you really need the help from, or whatever it is. You know, so just try and be nice, which I've always done. And at that period, I needed to call in those cards, you know, and lucky enough, because I'd been nice to everyone, people have always tried to help me out. A normal career goes up and down, you know, so I think I've been lucky in that way. And I put out an album on my own label. I started learning about the business side quite a lot. A few bad mistakes along the way, because you're going to make bad mistakes. You're going to be taken for a ride sometimes. You're going to have to figure out how to deal with lawyers, publishers, accountants, the business structure. You know, there's just so many things that, you know, it's one of those things where, was it Pandora's box, where you think, oh, do you know what? I do want to learn about this stuff. And then you start doing it, you're like, oh my Lord, it's so, each part is an expertise on its own, you know, and you can only know that much, you know, so much rather. So yeah, I delved in, and I think the reason, coming back to your question, the reason that I then tried to bring it full circle and now try and delegate again is, it all works and you can do it all well until you need to then, something suffers, you know, on some level. You can do everything well, but you'll never do it better than someone who is only focusing on that one thing. You know, it's not possible, you know? So... and
there's not enough hours.
That's what it is. There's not enough hours in the day, you know? So I'm just at the stage where I'm like, do you know what? I understand that stuff. I understand it enough to know if I'm being cheated.
Yeah.
I understand it enough to know if it's not being done correctly, or if it could be done better, you know, and that's probably enough, you know. I think good businesses empower other people, you know, so just trust other people and allow them to grow around you so that you can go back to focusing on what you do best, or what at least people want from you, and which is your real love, you know. And if you're doing your real love, you'll be happy, you know. So yeah.
So your dream,
my dream,
your dream, what was it what you thought it would be?
Was my dream what? Yes, mostly yes. It never plays out the way you know. I think people, it's like when someone gets married, right, or enters a relationship or a new job or whatever, you know, you have this picture of what it's going to be. Oh my God, he's going to come in knight in shining armor. He's going to put you on a horse and we're just going to ride off into the countryside. No, there's council tax and there's bills and there's elections. Right, no one tells you about that.
I'm going to be at work.
Yeah, right. Or you're going to have a kid. It's like, oh great, it's going to be smiles and there's going to be a baby shower and you know, gender reveal and blah, 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 right? They don't tell you you're going to be up every single night and it's going to cause tension. It's going to be hard and, you know. So, but are you less happy for being a parent? No, you're happy. You wouldn't want it differently, you know, but it just doesn't play out the way you think. So I'm really happy that I've had the opportunity to do something that I love for a living. But just like love, it's not always, happy and, great, you know. But sometimes you need to put on the front that it is, you know, to preserve your love for it, you know. So, yeah.
The labour of.
Yeah, the labour of love, exactly.
Yeah. Amazing. What do you wish people understood about you?
Oh, gosh. What do I wish people understood about me? I don't know. I wouldn't even say that I've really been misunderstood. I think publicly, the only, because publicly is the artist side. So I think the only thing that most artists would want is for someone to give your art a try. You know, I feel any misunderstanding of me, the public me, which is the only bit that people see, it comes from if you haven't really given my art a try. I think if you genuinely listen to my material or see the image or whatever picture it is that I'm trying to paint, then I think you'll understand me better. And then your opinion of me will be an educated one. Yeah.
And does that allow for comment if you once you've given it a go? Is it then okay to have an opinion?
Oh,
and
100%.
for somebody
100%. Yeah, have critique, opinion, whatever it is. Yes, because you will be putting me in the right space in your mind, and your comments. You know, when you've done something for a while, you can tell if someone's comments are educated or not. You know, or if someone understands what it is that you're doing or not. And there's no problem with not understanding it. That's all, you know. But like you say, I think your comments come with more weight.
Sure.
You know,
for you
for me to digest. Yeah, but
when did you learn to be able to ignore the unweighted ones?
I don't think I still have. But I do think it's sometimes you got to go la 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 la. You got to. Otherwise, you can get into your own head, which is a bad thing. You know, some people write things flippantly, and discerning what is flippant and what isn't. You know, even if you know it's flippant, sometimes it can
still sticks.
Yeah. Luckily, that's not been loads my end, but. Yeah, I always try to reason with balance, you know, and I think I'm quite a logic thinker. So, and I think that's important in the creative industry because, I say industry, I've forgotten who told me they don't like the word industry, but yeah, in the creative world.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, with art, you're putting your heart out there, and you can feel that a judgment on your art is a judgment on you, you know? And it's if you're a model,
a bit of your soul is attached to it.
There we go. You've put effort, you've put energy, you've put your energy into it, you've put your love into it, and you thought, yes, this is a beautiful thing. I think this is what I want to say, or this is how it should be for me. And then you want as many people, you know, as aligned with your way of thinking to agree with what you're putting out there. There's always going to be someone who isn't, who doesn't, you know. But the way they voice not liking or you know, you've got to be able to discern or have a way of putting a barrier between. I find it easy if I can give something a reason. You know, they've said this because they don't get it, or they don't know the full picture, or they, you know, as long as I can do that, it not saying it doesn't disturb you, but you can let it go. You know, it's if you feel someone knows your whole thing, and wow, they go with that, like, whoa, did I miss a market? You know, but again, if you've got a good team around you and some trusted ears, then it helps you always put the art that you want to put out there and be confident with it, because you have a certain train of thought, and if the people you care about think, yeah, that's the one you should, you know, definitely roll with that. You know, you can stomach things a bit better.
Yeah. Support.
Yeah, support is important.
What makes you envious?
What makes me envious?
Other than my motorbike.
Other than your motorbike, yeah. Other than your glorious motorbike, which I've learned how to ride. Yeah, what makes me, I'm not, you know, honestly, it's not, I'm not trying to paint like some nice picture of myself.
Sure.
I don't really get, I don't know if it's because I've had the opportunity to do something that I love in life as a main thing, so maybe the envy's not there like that, but I don't feel like I've ever really, even as a kid, been like that. I'm so happy when someone else gets something, even if it's what I want. And but mainly because nothing's ever, well, when I say ever, I mean ever, outside your parents giving you something or whatever. Nothing has been given to me. Nothing. Everything has come hard. It's never been, oh, here's my number one single. Never. You know, those 8 years were really, really hard. I remember driving down the A46, I was working for Parcel Force at the time, driving down there, I literally had 20p? 20p to my name, as in the 20p that was in my pocket was everything I had. I couldn't go to the shop to buy something for 21p. No, it had to be 20p, right? And I was in the thingy and I thought, I don't want to ask. I was living with my parents. I thought, I don't want to ask them for £1. I'd rather look through the sofas and find the pound somewhere, you know? And, you know, like I said, my friends had just graduated. I'm so happy for them, so happy. You know, graduated, one become a doctor, the other one's off to work for Morgan Stanley. I was like, this is beautiful, man. So happy. So it wasn't envy. It was more, I always look to myself. My A&R guy at the time from Sony, Nick Raphael, we used to sit down at his house quite a few times and have some food, have a chat. And, you know, he went through a period of, you know, trying to mentor me a bit. And one thing he said, you know, no matter what happens to you in life, not that someone else isn't to blame sometimes, but you can't control that bit. Always bring it down to what could I have done differently? You know? So if I see someone in the exact spot that I want to be, I've got to say to myself, all right, cool, that's his journey or her journey, whoever is his journey, right? What can I do differently to be there? Or maybe I can never be there. So what could I have done differently? So I could have been there. And then you got to say, all right, cool, that's that. So next time, because I'm always going to be grafting, next time around, hopefully I'll recognize the flags and I can adjust my character this way a little bit or that way. And you know, the cards I'm dealt with are the cards I'm dealt with, you know. So envy, yeah, I don't really get envious, you know. I would say once I had not envy, and not envy in the jealous way. But I remember this is silly, but I remember because my mum passed away a week before I released my first single, so which was quite a hard time. But I remember years later seeing, I think it was Jay-Z at an award ceremony. I did not in person. I was watching it, and I saw him coming to pick up his award. And his mum was there in the audience. And I thought, oh, man, wouldn't it be nice, man? You know, just momentarily, life, why'd you take us so soon? But, you know, a moment of envy, if that's one, you know, I was like, man, all this stuff that I'm doing, all these awards, all these things, I know she's watching, but it would be nice to just walk up and say thanks, you know? But, yeah.
Wow. It sounds like you're able to turn envy into aspiration or inspiration rather than
stomach it and you're sitting in one corner. Yeah. I think the second you get to blaming, it's just a bad circle because you're there. I should. If this has happened, then I could have. But I could have. Yeah, but I didn't. So what can I do? Deal with that, you know, because otherwise you can end up in a room, you know, in your own mind, going round and round in circles when you could have written another song or you could have made another phone call, or you could have sat down and had a meaningful conversation. You could have done something else, you know? Not that I don't ever get into my mind, I'm human, but try and find some kind of reasoning method to get out of it quickly.
What are the obstacles that enter your mind in those moments?
The obstacles that could enter my mind. You know, I think the only time, or rather the hardest questions always come when whatever avenue you're looking at, the blame comes back to you, you know? Which is why I think my process of assessing what I could do better in all scenarios not eliminates, but takes the edge off any serious dark moment, because I'm always thinking, all right, cool, so how can I do better? All right, cool, so how can I do better? It's almost easier when you got a team, because you can say, all right, well, it's clearly because that person didn't do that. That's why this is like this. Or if I, you know, when you're running the ship and stuff doesn't go wrong or doesn't quite look right or doesn't quite, you got to look in the mirror and say, oh, well, that was me. My fault. Ouch. You know, I don't know, pressed too many CDs, or the artwork went a bit wrong. Can't blame the printer. The printer was me. You know, I can't blame the camera dude. I said, look, can you hold it from the left, not the right? It's my fault, you know? So the second that happens, you know, when all roads lead back to you, and it's a big one, a big mess up, you know, it can be a hard one, because then you can beat yourself up a bit and I should have done this, I should have done this, I should have, and it can become this, you know, this revolving circle, you know?
Are you good at saying you're sorry?
Yeah. I'll say sorry quick. Yeah. I'll put my hands out. It's me. My fault. You know? Quick. No problem.
Some people can really struggle with that. And it just beats them down, you know?
Yeah. I don't know.
Just carrying it around.
Exactly. And this weight, and then you have that weight. And I think a lot of, even if you're a person who doesn't show it, stress affects everyone. Like stress, or you know, that negative stuff, it's a burden, a weight that if it sits on you for too long, you know, it's not a nice thing to carry. So I prefer to put your hands up and keep it moving. I'm that kind of person. If I argue with you to now, like right now, 5 minutes later, I'd be giving you a hug, we'd be having some food, chatting. I'm like, cool, because that was that. We've expressed it. Keep it moving. You know, life's too short. Yeah.
Have you ever had a serious disappointment?
Serious disappointment? Oh, many. many. I'm in the music business. There's many, you know. Like I said, 8 years of trying to get into do music, you know. So many meetings where you don't get the deal. You've got, like I said at the time, best kept secret. There was Tay Brown, Darren Brown, Giles Craig, RS Digital. They were just on their journey trying to build this company. And you think, at the time I'm thinking, like, cool, I can sing really well. I can do what's required. I've just seen Kelly LaRock, she's just got her deal and things. So I'm just thinking, all right, cool, it's me next. I've really got to deliver. So when you go and have meeting after meeting with, you know, in companies, like at that time I didn't know anything about the music business. So you're sitting in these big offices, you know, they've got their platinum discs on the wall, you know, I don't know, 10 Strip Derby, you know, I don't know, whoever's on the wall, right? And you're sitting in there, this young kid, you got a voice, but you don't know anything.
What, you in your 20s, early 20s?
Oh, 17, 18.
17, 18.
Yeah. And then, you're thinking, all right, when you don't get the deal, first, like I say, you can blame, oh, they just don't get it, or they don't. After 8 years of it, you're like, well, it must be me. I must not be good enough. You know, I must be not, you know, I don't know. It's my fault, right? So those are really big disappointments, especially when you have when you don't, not you have nothing. My upbringing was all right, but you know, you can just go and buy what you wanted. You know, you need to save up to get a pair of jeans, save up to get some trainers. You know, not just go, just buy some trainers, right? So that thing that you're going for represents, in your head at least, because you don't really know what it is until you get into it, but it represents freedom. It represents choice. It represents, I mean, it's a huge achievement. I got a deal. Someone decided to give me, I don't know, £50,000, 100,000. I mean, that's like, in your head, that's like 100 million. You know what I mean? It's like, wow. And an opportunity, and all that means all this singing that I've been doing in my living room and blah, blah, it turned into something. Wow. You know, how does that, I don't know anyone in the music business. So if every time you go into that room, some guy sitting down with his suit and his thing, you're just from Tottenham, you know, you don't know, I don't know. I'm in there, if you ask me to sing, I'll sing. Apart from that, don't know much, right? And you come out and say, no. You see, the person at the top, the person in the middle, no. You can start feeling, maybe I'm not that good. The only problem is when I then go back and sing, or I sing for someone or sing for a mate, they're like, oh my God, you sound amazing, right? Then it's like, it's not an abusive relationship, but you know, it's that kind of like, oh, it's great, but you're just up and down all the time, you know? But I think years of that and being able to process that, finding a healthy way to process that then meant that when I was in the music industry, number one, I had one major appreciation, which was, this is not a given. You fought really hard for this moment that everyone thinks is just a moment of luck. Oh, look, he went on the TV show and wow, everyone knows him now. So many, if I hadn't done the years before, I would have gone on the TV show and probably not, the voice wouldn't have been too different, but the knowledge and the experience of rejection, and which then leads you to understand that you need to work hard at something. You know, if you want a relationship, whether it with a person or with a bit of music or your art or whatever it is, you need to work bloody hard at it. Like harder than you think. That's why when people say to me, oh, you know, would you want your kids to do music, or would you? I'm like, no, hell no. Not because it's not achievable, but you really have an appreciation for how hard you have to work to maybe get a shot. And then once you do have a shot, I thought once I got a shot, great, I'm in Saudi now, great. No, the work tripled. The workload was crazy, you know? So then you realize, oh wow, no, you have to do this all the time. I remember going to Atlanta with Fitzgerald Scott, bless him, R.I.P. guy I used to write most of my kind of like song singles with. And he showed me, I think we went to Atlanta, and I think he was showing me somewhere where Usher rehearses. And some of these people, they'll start rehearsing 3 months before, as in full-size stage in a warehouse, 3 months, 2 months before you see their first show.
Wow.
So when you see the show, you're just like, oh great, no, they were running that thing so much. So when you see it, you're seeing perfection. You're seeing as close to, and it's only going to get better because they're going to go on the road now and have an audience to do it. So it's going to be, it's going to get way better, you know. But people don't always appreciate how hard it is to be not good at something, like competitively good at something. You know, it's really hard. And then you need the business to be right, and then you need a bit of luck, and then you know, just so many things. So when people ask me that, no, would you want? I'm like, listen, unless you want this thing, I mean, want it. If there's something else that's easier for you to do it. Follow your dreams, follow your passions, but passion means come what may, whatever hurdle you put in front of me, I want to do this thing. You know, I'm going to fall flat on my face. It's going to hurt, but this is what I want to do. If that is really what in your heart, run for it, go for it.
Incredible resilience.
Yes.
Incredible resilience.
Do you know, I think for anyone in art though, you know, in what you're doing, in what anyone's doing, you know, to say, do you know what, I'm going to do a podcast. And I'm gonna do the outlet. I'm gonna spend that money. I'm gonna get cameras. I'm gonna get thing. I'm gonna get light, and I'm gonna get what's it. I'm gonna find a space. I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna employ someone. I'm sure there's somewhere in your head, because anyone who's trying to create anything from nothing, somewhere on one day there was a day you woke up and there was a voice in there saying, "Why are you doing this?
What's the point?
What's the point?
What's the
What are
point?
you doing that for? Who's gonna watch?
Hey, yeah.
Who's gonna think? You won't even get anyone.
Yeah.
Who's gonna want to? Who are you?" That is what happens,
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
Every time you go to write a song, same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you've written so many songs, like, is this one gonna be any good?
Yeah.
Is it gonna be? Have you got it? Have you? Then you finish the song, you're like, no, I actually like that. That was good. And you play it to a few people, that was really good. You know? But I think the key is separating the second you can separate success from good art, then you freed yourself a bit. You know, because you're not putting a number on what it is that you do. You're just doing what you do and saying, I think this is good. And you're putting it out there. I think this is good. And you're putting it out there. And I think this is great as well. That is the healthiest way. The second you do that and it's like, oh, this is really good. Now let me look at how many views it's got. This is really good. Let me see what the streaming numbers are. This is unhealthy. It's unhealthy because nothing's that type of good until that bit needs a bit of luck. You know, okay, well, cool. Now some huge person then tweeted about it, started watching it. And then, they said, have you seen this? Then, okay, the numbers thing. Then they go and look back at all the other stuff that you were saying, this is good. Then they go and look at all that, you know? But, so that audience part comes, but you need to just keep on saying, I'm a creative person. I think this is good. This is what I want to do. Don't care what anyone else thinks. I'm pointing out this is what I think is good. I think this is good as well. I think this is good. And try to, if possible, do it in a way that doesn't cost you. Because that can also put an end, that can put a limit on what you do and this and that. But if you could do it in a way where, wow, it's not costing me much, I can just keep this thing ticking over. Just keep it ticking over.
And that's the dream.
That's the dream.
Being able to continue doing what you're doing,
what
which
you
is
love.
the creation.
There we go. Yeah.
Therefore, does the price of a piece of art affect its quality?
Does the... it depends. I think it depends if it's post or pre-creation. Pre, before, post, after. Pre or post, if it costs you to create the piece of art, outside time, that is, but if it costs you to create the piece of art, then there can be a limitation. It's like when, speaking of motorbikes, if a company said, we want to build the best motorbike there is, oh my God, you're going to see this amazing thing. Now I want to sell it to the public. Suddenly, the fairings are made out of wood instead of plastic, because they've got to find and try and confine it to some budget so that someone can afford it, and so that they can keep the business running off the creation. But if you can create for free, as in not the selling part, as in if your creation of the product is free, then no, it doesn't affect the quality, because you're just doing you to the best of your ability. If every time you want to create a podcast, it's 10 grand, and you've got 100 grand in the bank, you're doing 10 podcasts. If you want to do 20, you better lose some lights or lose an employee. You know what I mean? Then all right, cool. It starts affecting things. If it's what you want to sell it for after it's been created, all right, that's a whole different. That I think that affects more how many people decide to buy it. Because it might just be out of their budget.
But does it affect the quality? Does it define the quality of a piece of art, the price?
Or you mean the perception of it, the perception of quality? It could affect the perception of quality, but I think that's just a marketing ploy, Because if I have a microphone and I say it's a $5, and everyone goes, "Oh, I can afford a $5, I'm gonna buy a microphone." And then I have the same microphone and I paint it gold and I say, "This one though is £10,000. Everyone goes, "I'm not buying that." But they also say, "I'm not buying that." But why? It must sound amazing. It must sound amazing because someone said it's £10,000.
And I know you and I are both done that.
Yeah, same microphone, doesn't do much different. But someone said it's 10,000, so wow.
Yeah,
placebo effect.
Absolutely. Yeah, incredible. Who or what might have stopped you from achieving your full potential?
Oh, wow. Who or what might have stopped? The only person that could stop me is me, yourself and the voices in your head stop you from achieving your full potential. I think the only thing we don't have control over is what family you're born into, where your dad chooses to move to when you're little, all that stuff. All right, cool. But whether you succeed in that spot, wherever it is that you are, on whatever level, succeeding could be waking up in the morning not being depressed. Succeeding could be starting a multi-billion pound business, So whatever card life has dealt you, I think the main thing that stops you from succeeding is yourself. Doesn't mean stopping yourself from it doesn't mean succeeding in that scenario is an easy thing. It could be astronomically hard for one person and easier for another because their circumstances are different. But for me, I'd say, it's got to be, it's me, same thing it goes back to about when I was saying the blame, apportioning blame. You've got to say, all right, cool. Maybe it's not in my cards to be Michael Jackson, but I can be Lemar on whatever level that is. And for me, that is a success. What success is to me isn't necessarily based on money. It's based on the art that I'm creating and can I create while providing for my family? In that way, success.
Dream.
You know, that's it.
Absolutely. If they were being mean.
If you were being mean,
if they were being mean.
If they were being mean.
What might the people you live among at the moment say about you?
Oh, if they were being mean. If they were being mean, you know, I'm a workaholic. Time is that thing, you know. You can always give more of that, you know, to my home life. Could always do it, always, and I'm aware of that. Which is part of why I'm trying to start the whole delegation, because then you can carve out time to then you know, apportion a bit more correctly, you know. I think as a creative, most creatives will understand or will get that. It's just like maybe it's a weird mindset, I don't know. But being creative is not, you don't choose when to be inspired. You don't choose, and it's weird that the inspiration you have today is very, very different to the inspiration you'll have tomorrow. So, you know, I've tried the whole write a song at, you know, when it comes to you, go to studio and record it, or just put it in a dictaphone and do it later. Later sounds rubbish. Later does not sound the same. It's a lie. It's a lie. It doesn't sound the same. If it's just a written lyric, all right, cool. That lyric will always be written. But try and do like a whole melody, a beat that you've got in your head or whatever it is, and try and do that later. Nah, you need to do that at 1 a.m. when it came to you. That's when the thing was there.
And don't let them convince you, kids.
Don't let them convince you. It's a lie. It's a lie. If it's a melody, if you're producing something, just when you get it, do it then, you know. But the problem is it might be like, say if it's 1 a.m., suddenly you're tired. You've been up for 3 hours, 4 hours, and then you're tired. Or if you're researching something, you know, you're inspired by something that you're seeing, and then 4 hours later, you're still looking at this stuff. People don't always get that. You know, I've been fortunate in that, you know, in my life, in my home life, the people around get me like that, because I've always been like that. So they understand, you know, he's not as present as he needs to be, but it doesn't mean a lack of love. It doesn't mean a lack of anything like that. But in order for him to do what he does, cool, he needs to just be a bit odd with the timing sometimes. However, it can get a bit too much, you know? So I would say the first thing would be, dude needs to figure out his time and how he apportions things and how he gets back to people, all that kind of, he needs to figure that out, you know? And I've always been like, I need to work on that. Slap on the wrist.
And what if they were being kind?
If they're being kind, if they're being kind with what they say. I don't know. He means it. The love part, I think, as in like he gives a damn. Like he does. Like if it was just down to me, I could have stopped a few years ago. You know, so like, all right, cool. Tick that box. Really, really cool. Blah blah blah. I'm okay. Stop. But this part of my life isn't necessarily about me. It's about serving the audience, you know, and also my family, the home life. Those two things, I get a lot of joy out of doing. I feel if I serve the audience correctly, I'll be fulfilled. They will be fulfilled and happy, and what they give will allow me also to then serve my family the right way. You know, I think initially, the first few albums that when you break into the music industry, it's kind of all about you. Same thing with before you have a kid. It's all about you. It really is about you. It's about me. What can I achieve? Why am I recognized? Why I'm the best singer. I can do the thing. I can do what that person does. Me. You know? But this part of my life is more, I don't feel I've got to prove anything. I don't feel I've got to, you know, I need to think. Yes, things could always be a bit better. Things could always be a bit different. Yes, always. But I find that if you focus on serving those people who have always been there for you and maintaining good relationships with good people, good stuff just comes to you. It just does, you know. It's not necessary. It's not just, if I work harder, I get more. It's not. It's if you serve and put out as much love as you can and just try and be genuine with the people that matter, good stuff starts happening. Good stuff comes your way. You get a bit of luck. You get a bit of thing. You need something. You have a right conversation with someone, and they're like, "Oh, do you know I've got a blah blah blah." You know, that's just how it. And then that comes back to, you know, the whole COVID period of when I decided, you know, get out of your own way and just try what you want. A bit of acting, bit of sister act, a bit of thingy. You know how we met. You know, the video thing, oh, cool, you know, I want to make a video, but I just need to, you know, my budget is this. You know, I've reached out, how can I, actually, you know, I want to learn more about this because I was doing more filming during COVID. And then I thought, all right, I've got a certain camera, how do I, and then we, you know, we bumped into each other, And then you're like, oh, well, this is my passion and thingy, and it opened this whole other world, which I ended up doing the videos. And then ended up, so it's like, wow, okay, you know. Yeah. And that's just by getting out of your own way and saying, do you know what? If you just serve, just try and put something good out there. And if you've met good people, try and keep on watering that plant. And that's it. Doesn't always have to lead to something.
And just let it happen.
But it's just nicer. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel you live an ordinary or an extraordinary life?
Oh, wow. I think it's pretty extraordinary. Extraordinary because I ticked the boxes I was trying to tick. If I realized how unrealistic the dream I was trying to chase with, you know, the guys I mentioned at Best Kept Secret, if I'd realized at that time how unrealistic the dream is and how few people actually, as a percentage, get to genuinely taste a bit of it and fund their life from that, I probably would have pulled out. Like, this is unrealistic. How am I going to?
Well, you almost did.
Yeah, 8 years in. Did. Yeah, exactly. But, you know, so in that way, I'd say extraordinary. But I remember seeing, there's a guy called James Samuel. I think the film's called Harder They Fall. But he's done a couple of 2 films now. Back in the day, he did my first video. We did it at Ladbroke Grove Station. The song was called Got Me Saying Ooh. Giles and the guys at Best Kept Secret made the tune. We did this lo-fi video, and James was there directing it. He's a big director now, you know, in America. So proud to see all that. So nice to see. But I saw something, he was talking to someone, he was saying, do you know what? Consciousness, we see all this and we experience all this, and I see you and this microphone, and I've come here and I've experienced in this world because I'm conscious, which means when you die, this as we see it through this, in this state, in this body, ceases to exist, right? So you are the center of the universe. You are you can see the stars, you can see it because you've been blessed to be here. No one else can be you. No one else has the same, even if you're a twin, you're not fully the same. So your experience of this, you know, you're the center of the universe. You're the reason. You are the reason everything exists, you know? So in that way, every single person, you know, whether they're listening, whether they're watching, whether they're whatever they're doing, you're living an extraordinary life. It's once. You have it once, you know, one opportunity to see all of this, breathe it in, see the sunsets, the sun rises, have conversations, meet people, do something good, you know, feel annoyed, happy, ride a motorbike one time, you know? So to me, that's pretty extraordinary.
Here. Extraordinary. Absolutely amazing. So good to have you, man.
Cool, man. Thanks.
You, man. I'm so glad we could make it happen.
Yeah, you know, I'm happy I could come down as well. It's good. You're only up the road.
Yeah, so quite. Is that all right?
Yeah, perfect, mate.
Nice, mate.
Perfect.